Alright, I see myself on stream now, so this is Dust. If you just watched One Shot, this is going to be a very different game. Now, something I should have actually started doing. There was a timing thing happening last month. This is another game. This is another one of my favorite games ever. So, I'm not going to be talking about the story in this one, because we're going to be skipping so much that really, even after watching a run, you shouldn't be spoiled enough to play the game on your own when it comes to the plot and the gameplay. Because the gameplay is also going to look very different from how it does casually. So there was a timing thing introduced last month where we're going to skip the opening cutscene in the run, and we're going to start when we skip the first cutscene after this opener. So there's a glitched save file, or not a glitch, but like a cheated save file created by, I believe it was created by Strike103, who's a mod for this game, and one of the best players, what he did was he made a mod that immediately starts the game after this cutscene, because we're going to start time when I press this skip button right here. So that's going to be in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so immediately what you see me doing is a technique called rocket jumping. So, this game, in its speedrun, is entirely based on animation canceling, because there are a lot of animations that give you a burst of speed, but then have some sort of end lag. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing another animation, we're going to be getting a burst of speed, and then doing another animation to cancel the end lag. So we get the speed of the previous move without having to wait for the cooldown, and that'll allow us to go with amazing speed, and that's going to be apparent with ground dodge canceling. So here we just got the dodge, or the dash, or whatever you want to call it, and at the end of a dash there's usually an animation where it takes a while before you can dash again. There's a bit of a cooldown. But by doing a ground slash, by doing a crouch stab, as soon as the dodge actually finishes, we can chain dodges and make them a ton quicker. And I did mention the word ground. Soon enough, we're going to be able to do this in midair. And, alright, there's a skip here that I don't quite know how to do yet. It's called Dust Storm Cutscene Skip. We're basically going to skip this cutscene. This is one of 2 cutscenes that we're not able to skip in the menu, and we have to actually sit through it. There's a way to skip it, though, that's, like, really specific, and I don't know it. But here you see what the Dust Storm is like, and this is major combat stuff in the game. We're not going to be doing too much combat, but this will have a use. So, coming up is, so in the Glade right now, I should have mentioned that this area is called the Glade. It introduced some major mechanic, and that is red barrier. So at the end of a screen, this game is, as you can tell, an action RPG, and you're supposed to be killing as many enemies as you can to level up and stuff. So as to make you fight enemies, what the game does is if there's enemies on screen, when you're at a screen transition, this doesn't happen on a vertical screen transition like an up and down, but like a left or right transition. If there's an enemy on screen, it'll create what's called a red barrier, which will try to prevent you from leaving the screen until all enemies are off screen, which either means knocking them off screen or killing them. They can absolutely mess up your day if they don't give you good patterns, and they keep jumping on screen. Fortunately, this Glade was very nice, and I got, like, no bad barriers, which is fortunate. We got the aerial dust storm in that last screen, which allows us to do aerial dodge canceling as opposed to ground dodge canceling, or instead of canceling the dodge animation with a crouch stab, we're going to cancel it with a aerial dust storm. And here, so you'll see here, maybe, we're going to try and get a boost. I got a really nice boost. So what a boost is in combat in this game, you might have noticed it on a previous screen when I was slashing and it was changing my height. This game tries to kind of attract you towards enemies when it comes to your mid-air attacks. so that you won't just, like, mess around during combat. But you can use that to your advantage to get a lot of height or a lot of speed in a certain direction. Coming up is... I use an audio cue sometimes for this, sorry. Alright, so that was a skip. What I used for that skip was a movement technique called Rising Dust Storm, which is another animation cancel. There's the basic combo for this game. When you're playing in casual mode, there's a few stuff that's defaulted to being locked on. There's stuff that's locked on, and there's stuff that's defaulted to being on. One of those things is called auto fire, which lets you input button combos by just holding down the button. So by holding down the main attack button, going 2 moves into a basic attack combo, and then doing an aerial dust storm for a short amount of time, we can use the height gain from the second move of the attack combo, and then the small dust storm that maintains our height, to keep gaining height. And there I flew over a mini-boss trigger, or I think it's a main boss, I'm not sure. I don't know what the game considers it, but I flew over a trigger for an important story event that is usually a long fight. Basically, I saved time. So coming up, we have a little glitch with this buddy, our buddy Fail here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bully Fail into the loading zone here. I messed it up. And I could have gone to try it again, but I don't want to play it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to mess with it. So usually when it comes to Fail, what you can do is bully him into the loading zone. You'll see another chance for me to do the Fail glitch, so don't worry. You can usually bully Fail into the loading zone and then talk to him at the same time you enter the loading zone. And what it'll do is it'll activate the Fail cutscene when you enter the area. And you saw that 15-second cutscene of, like, the area introduction when we first entered the area. And activating the Fail cutscene would skip that cutscene, and it would save about 7 seconds or so. There are cutscene skips like that later in the game that save more time simply because they're faster to set up than that one. But that one is one of the slower setups, but it still saves a decent amount of time. Gonna use that slime, we're gonna get a boost. Alright, now we're here. This is... the forest is the major area of Chapter 1. And similarly to the Glade, it's just a lot about preventing red barriers. Here we have a problem. I need to lure some of these enemies over here. So, one thing about... yeah, see, here's the problem. So even... you can't hit the screen transition from the top here, but even if I manage to get these enemies stun locked, which I can, because on casual difficulty, which is the easiest difficulty in the difficulty you play this run on, you have infinite, like, stamina, which allows us to keep dashing forever. But it also allows us to use Fidget for long periods of time, and when we hold down the Fidget attack button, she just spams a million projectiles, and that we can use to keep enemies in place. Mostly aerial enemies in place, which is good, because that will help us get them away from the screen transition and try and, like, prevent red barriers and stuff. Here, we're on the bridge now, so what we have to do is we have to carry these 2 bombs onto the next screen. This is usually a mechanic that, in the normal game, is kind of weird, but by doing that movement, we can just get a bomb. If we're lucky, we get 2, which we did, so I can do this. Then we get up here. And just another little quick thing about animation cancel. When I'm breaking pillars and stuff and trying to combo enemies away from me, you'll notice I'm, like, ducking. That's to reset the combo, so we don't have the long cooldown at the end of the combo. It doesn't give us the strongest attack of the combo, but it deals more damage than it really doesn't by skipping the most powerful attack in it. So here we're doing a kind of sequence break called the Flesh Sheath early Flesh Sheath, my bad. Mixed up the E. And I nailed it. So, Casual, there's no penalty for entering something wrong on the lock there, on that treasure chest, so I can just spam my arrow keys and get the chest quickly. So what that trick is I just, okay. What I did was I climbed up that area that you're usually supposed to have the iron grip, which you usually get in Chapter 3, and I got an item called the Flesh Sheath, which is an equipable that will increase my attack by 150. And obviously, as I said, you're not supposed to get that until Chapter 3, so now my attack is going to be kind of overpowered, and I'll be able to one-hit a lot of enemies for, like, the next 2 chapters. So here we have a bit of a cutscene. The guy on the right is General Gaius, who's the main villain of the game. We'll fight him eventually. So now we have to go back to the village. You have to talk to this guy to end the story. And now I'm gonna go to the shop here. Sell mode. I think we have 2 keys I can sell. Yeah, and now I'm gonna buy 5 teleport stones. Teleport stones are very important items. So what teleport stones do is, if you're at a save point, there's an option called World Map, and if you use that, that uses a teleport stone, but it'll bring you straight to the world map from any save point in the game, and it's a very useful feature. Here we have to fight these things, and if I did it right, which I think I did, I leveled up there. Keep in mind, that level up, I did this thing where I kind of bounced backwards. Like, it was a big explosion, and the explosion knocked me a little bit backwards. Now, this is going to be important in about 20 or so seconds, coming up to this cutscene. Because here, I didn't kill too much stuff because I got really lucky with red barriers in the prologue and in Chapter 1. So I'm going to be able to do a skip here that saves 15 seconds. So we kill this guy, we go into the Chapter 2. So here, Chapter 2. Now, if I did my experience correctly, which I'm highly sure I did, we're going to level up as we pass into the screen transition. And the explosion... I'm sorry, I told you about this. I'm sorry about that. But the explosion will knock us backwards. And what that does is it knocks us back into the loading zone and sends us back to that other screen. And then by entering this area again, the game acknowledges we've already been here, and it'll skip that cutscene and save 15 seconds. So here is Siramon Caverns. It's the major area of the second chapter of the game. There's a lot of weird stuff in this area, a lot of just cool techniques we're going to do. There's a really challenging sequence break I could do called Siramon Bomb that saves about 45 seconds over what I'm gonna do. And it involves carrying a bomb like halfway through the entire area. But that sounds very difficult, and it is very difficult, so I'm not gonna try it mainly because I haven't learned the most consistent method for it. I think my bomb got stuck. If I did it right, I could have carried a bomb and it would have gotten right there. But I think my bomb got stuck in a... Oh, okay, it got stuck up there. That's a new one to me. So here I'm going to do a glitch called a save point height relocation. That was not right. So this is a save point height relocation. I'm going to dash off a save point and activate it at the same time. And then I'm going to save my game and load my save game. And it'll load the height. So it's weird because it loads the horizontal position of the save point, but at the height that you saved at. So that will spawn us inside the fort. And so now we're gonna fly down here. We're gonna rising dust storm under the floor, and what that'll do throughout this screen is it'll skip 2 cutscenes and save a little bit of time over watching them. Because it's not like a cutscene in the menu we can skip, it's like a cutscene where we watch an animation, and then we can skip a text exchange, and then we have to watch another animation, and then we can skip another text exchange. It's just long, and we don't want to do it. So we don't. Here I'm going to set up for a little funny thing that I don't think saves any time, and I didn't get it. I'm going to try it, because I really want to show this off, and it looks funny. There we go. So, the cutscene we're watching right now is below us. There was something that just happened below us that was supposed to be where the cutscene is, but the cutscene has an infinite trigger vertically, so we could watch it well up there. Doesn't save any time, I just really wanted to show that off, because it's one of the funniest things in this game to me. Here's one of the few screens where really the only thing we can do to prevent a red barrier is to kill all the enemies. Here I leveled up. That's not important. I'll bring up leveling up later, because it's going to be important a bit later, but right now it's not. Alright, so here's another. Alright, I got that one first try. That one's usually pretty hard, because not only do you have to dash and save at the same time, on that one you also have to... what's it called? You also have to jump to get enough height, or get enough distance to get to a different enough height to spawn under the floor. There I messed up. By hitting the bottom of a screen that doesn't have a downward screen transition, it just warps you back to where you enter the room. Because it doesn't know where you should go, so it just kind of makes you retry and do the right thing. There I messed up a skip. If I were to press right, you would have seen it happen. If I could have pressed right, if I had pressed right, while I had entered that loading zone, it would have sent me back through the loading zone, and I would have skipped that enter area cutscene and saved 15 seconds. Unfortunately, I missed it, but this is Mudpot. This is a village, and this is where the quest continues. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to get one of the 2 resonance gems we get in the game. Resonance gems are basically these gems that will let us through colored gates. And there, I went up to that screen. It'll be important in about 20 seconds. Not 20 seconds, a lot later. It'll be important in a little bit, basically. But for now, we just have to go down here. Alright, so coming up, we're gonna get a new ability soon. This is the slide. So now we can slide through these small gaps. And a little bit of a weird quirk with this game, if you're on a ledge and you dash or slide, you'll actually get more, like, velocity from the slide or dash. Like, the speed and distance of it will be increased. Well, not really the distance, it's just that because the speed is greater, you'll go farther with it. It's weird, but it's helpful in some cases. So now we're going to use one of our teleport zones, and this is where that random screen we jumped on and jumped right back off is useful. Because if we enter a screen where usually there's a transition back to the world map, we can enter the area from that screen at any time. So by going up there, when we use the teleport stone, that screen right at Mudpot became a screen where we could enter from the world map. So when we had to teleport stone to get out of that area under the village, we could warp straight to that point in the map. So since I didn't do Sorrowing Bomb, this is going to be the backup. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bomb, and I'm going to carry it through here. A bit of a weird thing I'm about to do. I'm going to go through a screen transition, go through it again, and then go back. And for some reason, that'll reset the bomb's timer to be even longer than it originally was, and that'll be enough for what we're trying to do here. Because we want to carry this bomb all the way back to Mud Pot. Because you saw a bomb wall, and you might be wondering what it was for. And it's going to have a warp in it. A little teleportation orb to the boss, actually. So this is not the intended way we're supposed to go to the boss. Usually we're supposed to go around and then use that bomb wall on our way back after beating the boss to get back to the village quickly after, again, beating this boss who's Lady Tethys. But by... I messed up the stun lock on this boss, so I'm sorry. I'm just gonna do this. Alright. So, we did things out of order, and we carried a bomb over to that wall, so we could use the warp straight to the boss. We're supposed to use the warp here. I'm gonna grab this, because it's a new fidget projectile, and it's faster. This attack activates faster than the normal energy burst, so you usually want to get it just for that. So now, yeah, we use that warp, we're back in the village, now with the boss dead. We're gonna go through a few cutscenes, and then we're gonna be on to Chapter 3. Exploud, I mentioned this in Discord. You mentioned you might want to prepare food during this run. Now's your time. Nothing's happening. There's a lot of cutscene. I'm not talking about it for the sake of not spoiling the plot for people who haven't played this game yet, because I do recommend this game insanely. Okay, if I could jump up here, that would be great. So now we gotta get out, because we're done here. We're gonna use this enemy to get a huge boost up here, use this enemy to get over here. Now we have another one of these cutscenes. Gaius just talks, and then we can go to the Sorrowing Meadow. So coming up immediately, we're gonna have a little skip. We're gonna ground dash cancel over here, and then by the power of... we're gonna load an autosave. There was a time we loaded an autosave earlier in the round. I didn't mention what it's for. It made a usually unskippable cutscene skippable, but this time what we did was when we loaded the autosave, we let the game know we were in the Sorrowing Meadow, and so it skipped the enter area cutscene that usually plays when you transition onto the next screen. Time save. I'm gonna grab this key, because I'm pretty sure I have a backup, but better safe than sorry. Alright, there we go. I'm opening this chest, because this chest has an important item. I just got it. I saw myself get it. Yeah, the Pendant of Beauty, which will up our attack by another 60. So, we have better attack now. I think I might just try and deal with... nope, never mind. There's enemies on the corner right now that are preventing me from exiting. There they are. These can be kind of annoying here. Here we have a mini-boss. The community calls this boss the Turkey, because I think you can see why. I don't remember their official name. But I'm gonna try to do something here. I'm gonna slide, and then juggle him in midair with crouch stabs. And that'll kill him quickly. No, I wanted to boost upwards off these guys, not destroy their day. Now I have to destroy this beehive because it's on the screen transition. And And now we have to get rid of these guys. And here we're coming up on a trick called Sorrowing Bomb. We had Ceramon Bomb, which I didn't do. But Sorrowing Bomb here, I am going to do. We're going to carry these 2 bombs this time. Here we have a cutscene. Here we're going to get a second Resonance Gem, which is going to be a green one. And we're going to do a little sequence break here. So we're supposed to go, there's a certain mansion that we're supposed to go to first, and that'll be the one that gives us, usually gives us the Iron Grip, which will let us climb those mines and give us access to the other 3 mansions. Right now, what we have to do is go to 4 different mansions and get 4 different heirlooms. But by doing Rising Dust Storm up that wall, we can skip going to that mansion first, which is going to be important. Because we do want to do this mansion that I'm going to right now first, for a reason you'll see in a little bit. And that was Sorrowing Bomb. When I carried those bombs, I used it for those bomb walls, and using the bombs there was faster than doing the usual puzzle for blowing up those 2 bomb walls on that screen. So I succeeded on that. And here we're going to carry this bomb. Again, usually we have Iron Grip here, so this is easier. But since we don't, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to mess with this bomb a bit, because it's not in a nice place right now. And I'm going to... Yeah, there we go. It was stuck on a corner, so I had to get it unstuck. Alright, now we have this. And one very important thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try and go all the way to the right, instead of just a little bit ways. Alright, so, similarly to what I did back in Mudpont, I went on that screen so I could activate a map warp point. So, in several cases, so we have to go to basically the 4 corners of this area to get to the 4 mansions. And so, usually it's a thing about getting to the mansion and then getting back to the center area, so you can choose which mansion you want to go to next. I'll explain why I'm going to that area when I went to it, but in more detail. But to keep it short, that's faster when it comes to traversing the land. Alright. I'm gonna do a thing here. I'm gonna get rid of this beehive. Get rid of all the bees from the beehive. Bring bombs down here. Alright, so this is the first of the 4 mansions where we're going to get the heirlooms. This is Nanoth Mansion. My computer's acting up a bit right now, so I'm sorry if the stream's lagging. I reassure you what's happening with my game. This part's kinda laggy and weird. Alright, we're done. This screen and red barrier you sometimes. And it's one of the most annoying red barriers because the zombies and the bees will just keep happening. Okay, I did drop. I wanted to see if I dropped frames there, which is why I paused for like a few seconds. I did. Not as much as I thought I did, but I still did. So that was the first mansion. That was Nanoth. We got in, we got the heirloom, we got out. Now coming up is going to be... we're going to go back to the world map. And this is important. So the screen we went on earlier... when we go to the world map, we want to go back there. It's because going to this screen and then going to the teleport, going to that teleport screen after leaving a mansion is faster than returning through the normal area by just going there without the teleport. You see here it saves a few screens, and it's only like a few screens away from the main area. It's the fastest way back. I did not do the right strat there. I was not supposed to ADC dodge cancel off of that. I can just boost back up here though. I was supposed to do slides followed by rising dust storms, but I have more chances to do that movement, so don't worry about it. You'll see it done right, hopefully once, at least. Hopefully the rest of the times I do it, you'll see it done right. So now we're on our way to our second mansion, which is going to be Samachua Mansion, which is my favorite of the 4 names of the mansions. Don't ask why that's a thing I've rated before. Nanoth is my least favorite. Alright, gotta boost off the bee to get over the bees that were there. And I went a bit too far. I wanted to go right here. This is the screen with Samachua Mansion on it. Alright, so now we're in our second mansion. This one is my favorite name, probably my favorite laid out, just because it's really quick and easy. Like, we're gonna fall down here, and then that's gonna be the mansion. We're gonna use this to work back up, because we did fall down a giant hole. I'm gonna rising dust storm here. There's a wall. I broke it. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter if you break it or not, really. I just wanted to see if I could get over it. Alright, I'm gonna try and use you for a small boost. And then go up here. Gonna teleport stone back to the world map. Alright, so here I'm gonna stay the lower route, so I detonate this zombie immediately and don't worry about a red barrier there. For some reason, the first time you reach a part of a screen where a red barrier would be, it usually activates even if your height is fine. That was scary. The Necromancer almost hit my screen, which would have been really bad. Necromancers are really bad enemies to red barrier you, because they get killed really slowly. And they move slow, so they're hard to get off your screen before they just summon a ton of enemies and make your day terrible. Coming up is Bardell Mansion, which is going to be the 3rd mansion we're doing. And it's intended to be the first one we do, but we're doing it now. The main route you can usually take these mansions in whatever route you want. You want to go to Nanoth first so you can activate that warp point that I've been using to get to the center faster. Here we're gonna do a little trick. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna use Dust Storm a bit. And I'm gonna get these bombs. Usually you're supposed to go down here. I need more bombs. I hit a beehive with the bombs down there, which is why it took a little bit and why there was a massive explosion. But I need these bombs, because I need 2. Usually you're supposed to go down there, and then drag like a... What's it called? I'm forgetting the name. Right, there's a cutscene here. There's a cutscene about this ghost, because, this is the first mansion we're supposed to go to, so it's where it explains this ghost that chases us through the mansions. Please, thank you. So, now we're in Bardell. And once we get the third heirloom here, we're going to be getting the iron grip. So now we can finally climb walls with vines. And unlike the other ones where we use a teleport stone to get out, here there's a warp to the left that'll send us right back to the, yeah, this sends us right back to the center area, so we don't need to use a teleport stone there. We still have 2 teleport stones, and we'll be using those in this area, but you'll see when. So now we're on our way to our last mansion, which is my second favorite in the name and really the ranking for my favorite to least favorite mansion name is the true for the mansion in general. So here we're heading to my second favorite mansion, which is Dorimo. Or Dorimo, I'm not 100% sure. I usually say Dorimo because it's like domino, but whatever. Alright, so coming up on the 4th and final mansion here. This one is the most deceiving, because it does stuff like this, and then as you see on the way back, we'll have to deal with trying to scale those pillars that I just skipped. So it's a bit of a weird one. There's also a bit of a height-based climb coming up. This is easily the mansion where you're most in danger of getting hit, but on the easiest difficulty, even if you die, you'll just get revived back at full health, so it doesn't matter how much you take damage on this difficulty. Which is pretty cool, I guess. Usually there's an item called revival stones that revive you to full HP when you die, but those are really expensive items and we don't need to buy them. But there is going to be actually a part where we're not going to play it on the easiest difficulty, and that's coming up in just a few minutes, actually. Gonna scale this wall to get over these. Got a key. Nice. I just have extra keys. I don't need money anymore, and I don't need keys anymore, so keys are nice, but they're mean. So now I'm gonna use the save point. Guess what I'm doing? Yep, that's right, I'm back here. Alright. So now I headed through here for the last time. Don't worry. For those of you that are sick of this area, you don't have to see it anymore. Because we're headed to the boss now. This boss coming up is Baron Kane, who is the dead wife of this person, Cora, who was a character we met earlier in the game, but I skipped them. Or we saw him just before the first major skip we did. We saw him at the end of the prologue before I did that skip. So Kane here can do 2 attacks. You're going to stand under him and just chain a combo. Please. So he can do 2 attacks. He can do this kind of hand stomp, or he can do this sort of hand swipe. And the point we're standing under him, if he does the swipe, you have to dodge out of the way. But if he does the stomp, you can just stand there. And you want to stay close to him, otherwise, if you get far enough away from him, he'll spawn enemies. What I want to do right now is I want to go to the settings and change the difficulty to normal, so that I can kill him in normal. Because I mentioned earlier in the run, depending on your difficulty, stuff is either settings are either defaulted on, defaulted off, stuff like that. So one thing that's defaulted on, alright, so something that's defaulted on when you're playing it's locked on, you can't change it. As you saw there, it was called auto level up. And basically what that is, going to use our last teleport stone here, but go here this time. Didn't mean to do that. And then go here, because this is where chapter 4 is. But auto level up is something that's locked on when you are in casual difficulty, which is the easiest difficulty. And so, we turn on normal at the end of that fight because we level up 4 times. And since auto level up is no longer on, what auto level up does is it will automatically assign your skill gems. You saw I went into a menu. When you level up, you get a skill gem that you can put towards either HP, attack, defense, or fidget. And with auto level up, it automatically assigns things in the order of HP, attack, defense, fidget. So you saw I was at level 5, so I had 2 gems in attack, and then 1 in the other 3 stats. So I turned off the thing before I turned off auto level up by changing the difficulty. Before I got leveled up 4 times. So it gave me 4 skill gems, and with auto level up off, I could put all 4 skill gems into upgrading my attack. And this is basically going to be the attack stat that I finished the run with. With 153 or something, 150 or so on the base stat, and then 210 in item buffs. So coming up, we're going to be getting a new ability. The last new ability we're getting in the run, not usually the last one you get in the game, but skips are nice, and we're going to do them. So here we have a mini-boss where I'm going to try and keep down on the ground so I can, by doing this attack, so that I can easily combo them more without being a rude. Alright. So this will give us double jump. So you may be asking yourself, hey, you have Rising Dust Storm. That's infinite height, right? Why do you need a double jump? Is this like a story required thing? No. There used to be a double jump skip in this run, but as for the reason why we don't do double jump skip anymore, I'm mistaking which screen this is. Hold up. Okay, I'm sorry. I was mixing up which screen I was on. I was thinking of this part right here, which I nailed it. Alright, the bombs can be tricky there. But for the reason I got a double jump, even though I already have an exploit to get infinite height, will be important later. But it is skippable. And old any percent warpless runs, mind you. Any percent always skipped it because you skip everything in warps. Used to do it, but you'll see why later on why we don't anymore. Coming up is Ice Cave skip, which is a major skip. Usually at this point there's a ton of snow on a mountain and we have to cause an avalanche by going into this cave and breaking these pillars to loosen the snow. I just got back inbound. To loosen the snow and climb up the mountain. But we're going to, at this point, if we dash at the right time, which I'm struggling with getting the timing right, I can clip through the wall, and then we can go up here. Alright, so now I'm here. There's wind on this screen now, which is blowing me to the right. So we can go out of bounds, jump into this pillar, and then we can quickly, well above there, go into this screen transition. And then we're out of bounds right now. We're in one of the screens of the ice cave right now, but we're out of bounds because this screen is also shared by above the mountain. And by going over here, we can spawn some enemies, lure the enemies over here, and boost off of them to finish the skip. So we skipped going through the ice cave and having to cause the avalanche, which saves a lot of time. I don't know exactly, but it's a very important skip in the run. It saves. It's one of the most. It's like insanely major. I don't know how to put it. Okay. I need to get up there. So. There we go. My bad. So, now we skipped something. Well, I did the ice cave skip. When we caused that major avalanche, now there are these little ice slides that happen. I could have done, if I boosted right off those enemies, I could have gone right over them. Alright, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna lure this enemy to attack me, and then dash over here so it doesn't cause a red barrier. That is probably the single most worst enemy in the game, that specific push right there. And by being able to lure him quickly, I got what's called the good push. Nobody calls it that, but I call it that now. That enemy name is Kush, so I'm allowed to say that. So, here I'm going to do these little skips. I'm going to use the spikes and invincibility frames to climb up these platforms faster. And right now we're into the last part of Blackmore Mountains. This is my favorite area in the game. And it's very quick, and it's a lot of cool movement. This is the last part. Alright, I need a wolf here because I fell down here, and I didn't want to fall down here. If I could boost through, thank you. That was kind of weird. I fell there when I shouldn't have. And I didn't do the best thing I could have to recover quicker. Alright, so here we have this guy. He's kind of a butt, but well, I am too. Now, coming up is another skip that's going to be very similar to the one we did very early on in the run. I'm simply going to just use Rising Dust Storm and fly over a cutscene trigger, and that cutscene trigger has the boss trigger in it, so we skip a boss fight. There we go. Alright, so now we're in Zepplik Village, which is the story area. I'm not spoiling the story, as I mentioned, so for you, and for me, really, it's just going to be skipping some cutscenes. Alright, and that was Chapter 4. That was Blackmore Mountains. Now, we need to make one last pit stop before we go to the final chapter of the game, which is going to be Chapter 5. I'm going to make a pit stop back to Aurora Village. I failed at the beginning of this run a glitch where you used this NPC to skip a cutscene, and we have a second chance to do it here. We have another one. So I'm going to bully Fail into the loading zone, talk to him at the same time I leave it, enter Bardell Basin, which is the main area for Chapter 5, and I'm going to be skipping the panorama for the Moonblood Camp, with the fail cutscene. So that's what it should have looked like when I entered the forest. But I messed it up when I entered the forest. So it didn't look like that. And similarly to what would happen with the fail glitch if I did it right, until a screen transition, it just relies on the last music played, which because of a chapter transition was nothing. It would have played the map theme in the forest. So here we have a skip. This is why I got double jump. So this is yellow gate skip. We nailed it. Alright, so that skip requires the double jump because you have to do a jump well in midair, which you can do with a double jump. Like, you have to do a full-on jump. Just normal gaining height doesn't work. And basically what I'm going to try and do, please don't clip back in, you see this up there, that resonance gate is yellow. And we need to do two things. We need to go to that underground area where I did the skip to get, to power these two things, which would require two of Fidget's abilities, the Fireball and the Lightning Bolt. I got the Lightning Bolt, and I mentioned why, but the Fireball I straight up skipped, so I couldn't do that even if I didn't have... I couldn't beat the game if I didn't have that skip. The other thing we're supposed to do is check up on these people who are dead because of soldiers. A war is about to happen, basically, and we're preparing. So, we're near the end of the game. I'm messing up this part. If you're positioned right, you can just do dodge cancels over those lava little bursts. Alright, so a little strat here. There's invisible enemies here that can explode our bomb, but I'm gonna just do that movement to fly over them. Alright, so, yeah, see they're right there. I'm gonna take it down to get rid of the red barrier. I failed the last enter area cutscene there. There was a skip there that, similar to the one I missed in Mud Pot, where I had to, like, press left at the same time I hit the screen transition. So I would go back to the screen when I entered the transition. So now we're in Bardell Basin, which is the last area of the game. And you see what I'm doing right now, how I'm just kind of flying over it? I'm basically going to be flying over the rest of the game. So there's not too much that happens here. There's a few things that I'm going to explain when I get to them, but for now, I'm just doing this. Alright, so now we're in, we did a few of that there. We're gonna do a bit more of that. I'm gonna have to get up again. Here there's a red barrier that doesn't exist half the time. So this enemy is here. So we have to kill it. Please, get over here. But when you're right there, enemies on the ground below me can't jump up to there. And when they're down there, the red barrier, I still have enough height to walk through. So we don't have to worry about killing enemies on that screen. Here, there's a little warp. And this is an important screen. I want to exit this screen at the very top. Because I want to keep my height into the next screen. You see these cannons. I skipped the cutscene that showed off the cannons, but I'll be dodging all of these cannons as long as I stay at the top. As you see there, I dipped a little bit in height at the wrong time, and now there's these cannon shots. These cannons will destroy you. In every other difficulty, what you're intended to do is stay underground and attack from underground until you can get behind the cannon. But that's a bit slow, so since we're on casual and we can't die, we're just gonna dash through all the cannon fire. The cannons will knock you back, like even after the damaged stun animation. They will knock you back a little bit when they hit you, so they're terrible. Because if they hit you a lot, they can waste a lot of time. but we're still going to just try our hardest to dash through them. As when we're like close like that to them, it won't matter. Alright, that was nice. It won't matter about the cannons because they'll be firing at a trajectory where we can't get hit by them. That's the last cannon we have to worry about in the run. There's 4 cannons, and one of them is in a hidden area that we never went to. So now we're in the last part. This is the last screen before the fight before we reach the boss. I'm just gonna dodge cancel through here. So right here, I'm gonna do one last little thing. I'm gonna do, for the first time since Chapter 2, another save point height disposition. I'm gonna save the game after dashing and falling down here, load the save, double jump out of here, and go this way, travel these 2 screens, and at the top of this screen is a trigger for the 4th and final phase of the fight with General Gaius. So I skipped the first 3 phases of the fight. I want to get Gaius over to this side platform here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing this combo, and then when I do the slam, he'll get blasted off, and he can't fall in the lava, so he'll do an air jump out, and he won't attack until he lands from that air jump. So by doing a combo correctly, I can keep Gaius in midair, which will keep him from attacking, and will effectively stun lock him. Here I messed up because I was a bit too far to the right, or to the left, my bad, and I did a slam attack into the lava. That's the example of how you don't die in casual difficulty. But I'm just going to be whittling down the rest of Gaius' health by keeping this stun lock alive. I did again. Alright, so that's the end of the fight. I'm going to stand here and do this, so as soon as I can, he takes damage. Time's coming up in 45-ish seconds around. A minute, and just get ready on time. Time's going to be at the fade to white. So I have to do this really slow crawling. And get ready on time in like 3 seconds. Time. Alright, that's the run. Not gonna watch the cutscene for spoilers. I don't know what my time was yet, because delay, but I'll see quickly. $56.44 was my final time. That's a really good time. My current personal best is 55.03, so I could not have asked for better on that. Similar to One Shot, though, I definitely recommend playing this game. This game is absolutely beautiful. I tried not to explain the story and tried not to explain a lot so that your experience could be as whole as possible while playing, because you really do just need to play this game. That's all I have to say. Sorry if I put us a bit ahead of schedule with the estimates. Both of my runs could have gone a lot worse. Both of these games can have a tendency to crash sometimes, so I set safe estimates, and both of them paid off very well. Thank you. That's all I have.